I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller? Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Welcome to Middle Class Film Class Gabbin' Chatter, or Movie Review Edition. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm your host for today, Pete.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Joseph.
And today we're going to be reviewing my pick from the Wheel of Destiny, You Won't Be Alone. That one. All right, You Won't Be Alone. A riveting, scintillating trailer there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't hear Tyler.
You can't hear Tyler? Speak up. Say something, Tyler.
Saying something.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't hear Tyler.
Oh.
That is very weird because I can hear everybody.
You can hear everybody?
I can hear everyone too.
I couldn't hear the board play drop. I can hear it.
Okay.
You can hear that?
No, I can't hear it.
You can't hear that either?
No, I can hear it from his headphones or from something else.
That's weird.
That is strange.
Interesting. There's not a whole lot of that. You just want to go one ear for this for a while. Because it's only you, right?
I can hear you.
But you can't.
How about now?
I can hear you, and I can hear myself.
And how about Tyler?
I can hear everyone.
Okay, I can hear that.
Really?
No.
But you can't hear me.
That makes no sense. How is that possible? Because you can hear everybody on the board. I can hear everything, and you can only just not hear channel 3. That's super weird. Or channel 6 here, whatever this is.
Yeah, I don't know. What if I do? What if I go here? I can hear that.
Yeah.
I can hear that.
I don't know. That's
So
weird.
Tyler's not coming in for me, or the board's not coming in for me.
Do you want to shut the board down?
No.
We can start over to Audacity.
No, it's okay. I can hear Tyler, but I just can't hear him in my headphones.
Oh, I see.
Gotcha.
I see.
Okay, let's go one more time.
All right.
All right, You Won't Be Alone. This is a movie from 2022, written and directed by Goran Stolevski. And I remember that name. I think this guy's going to do big things. This is categorized on IMDb as a drama, fantasy, horror. In an isolated mountain village in 19th century Macedonia, a young girl is kidnapped and then transformed into a witch by an ancient spirit. This is starring Noomi Rapace as Bosilka, Alice Engelert as Belina, Anna Maria Marinka as Maria, Carlardo Cota as Boris, Sarah Klamoska as Navina, and Felix Maraton as Jovan. These are pretty much all unknowns to us, besides Noomi Rapace, who's had a storied career. She's had a great career so far. She's been in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Prometheus, The Girl Who Played with Fire, Sherlock Holmes, all kinds of stuff. She's great. She was in The Lamb, The Trip. And then it's populated by a bunch of people that we don't know so much about. The reason why I picked this movie for us to review is because I don't see a whole lot of people talking about it. I don't think it gets enough love. And it's a fascinatingly shot movie with an interesting story. And it left an impression on me when I watched it back in 2022. And I figured it would be good fodder to talk about. This is your guys' first watch. And why don't we give some initial impressions? So, Tyler, what's your first impression of You Won't Be Alone?
Hauntingly beautiful, and I couldn't say it better myself. This movie does not get enough love. I can't believe that this movie is slept on, or I'm sure it gets high praise within the film community. However, I compared it to after I watched it, I compared in contrast to The Witch, because it deals with witches. And so The Witch, or Robert Eggers' The Witch, is a lot more superficial, as in the sense of it literally plays out like a folk tale, like if you opened up a storybook.
Yeah.
This one is a little bit more existential, and there's a lot more thought that goes into the individual that is afflicted with the curse of being a witch. And I thought that was really interesting. And it goes into a direction that I did not think it was going to go into. And that's not a detriment to the film. It has a lot of great shots, and the setting and the costume design is just incredibly well done. The lore of the witch and the whole curse of everything is it did not need to be explained. It just sets it out there, and it's like, this is what it is, and you can infer of what is going down. Yeah, I never heard of this movie until you brought it up onto the Wheel of Destiny, and it was just, oh my god, I was
cool.
I was blown away.
Nice. You watched it this morning?
Yes, I did.
Me too.
It's a perfect 6:45 a.m. film.
Okay.
And I was eating mashed potatoes. You have
As you do at 6:45 in the morning,
with a little bit of pepper on it. But yeah, I really loved this movie. It was a lot to take in. And yeah, I'll get more into my thoughts. But initially, after I watched it, I was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But did you like it?
Like I just said, I was like Stone Cold Steve Austin said, hell yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you liked it. Joseph, how'd you take this movie? And you won't be alone for your first watch.
I'm on the fence.
Okay.
I am Bruce Perky this episode.
Oh yeah.
Because the first 20 minutes it took me a second to get into the movie. And then I was pretty into it, and then I was slowly realizing something, and then once I realized it, it was a big detractor.
Oh, really?
For the movie for me, and it's that it is ripping off Terrance Malick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very Terrance Malick style.
It's not just Terrance Malick style.
Okay, all right. Hold
it's
on.
one thing to use, the camera shots obviously can just be used in different movies. You know, it's not like they're using wide angles and stuff, but to pair it with the voiceover and the shots of nature and people dancing around, or just people just doing mundane things like walking in the woods or water, or just hanging out with each other. Even the swing shot, the thin red line, that's one thing. But then to use at least two of the same songs from Tree of Life.
Oh, is there really?
In this movie.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Which sounded familiar.
Which ones?
The one with the piano.
I don't know about the piano one, but definitely the one that's at the end of Tree of Life when he's on the beach, and you just hear that sort of low male choir singing. And even the rest of the music was still heavily inspired from, it felt like, from a Malick.
Sure.
But
would Malick make a movie about witches?
But at the same time, I did enjoy the story of it, and I enjoyed the it's essentially coming of age of a witch.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming of age a witch movie, where this person who was born and sacrificed to be a witch by her own mom doesn't want to live that life of a witch.
Or does she?
I don't think so. That's a very interesting and unique story. And this movie is not a horror movie.
No. It's got some gruesome elements, but definitely not a horror.
It's way too whimsical for it to be a horror movie. I also think that at first I was like, I feel like I'm missing a bunch of lore because I don't know anything about Macedonia, Macedonian lore, Macedonian folklore. So I felt like I was missing. There was a cultural thing that I felt like I was missing. A lot of questions were answered, I think, from the inferences that I could make. But at first I was like, I feel like I'm just missing something. Like I'm out of the loop with their traditions and what a wolf eateress is versus a witch, and how they actually portray a witch in this movie. It is kind of falls back to that burning the woman at the stake. So it kind of follows that traditional idea, but at the same time, there's some differences. It's they all are aware of this witch that is just around, and just when you bore a child, you run the risk of having that child taken from you.
It's like American Werewolf in London, where stick to the roads because they know there's a werewolf out there.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And I had when Freddy Krueger showed up,
Oh,
Maria Kruger.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Joseph.
When Franny Kruger showed up,
Oh,
it was her makeup was that makeup. It looked like Heidi Klum costume.
Oh yeah, the worm.
But other than that, like the whole idea of how they take identities was pretty cool and pretty gruesome.
yes.
And how they shed that identity, the effects of like the little scratch that she does on to like essentially it's like a vampire. It's like you scratch and she spits blood at
It's
it.
the witch's spit.
Yeah,
Yep.
I only get one in your entire life.
yeah, and that's the other thing. So I was missing like I only get one witching spit and I wasted it on you. And I'm like, I guess I can just infer that it's like your protege, your heir.
Yeah, it's like a vampire. They can only turn one vampire though.
Yeah. And
I totally go ahead.
But yeah, I'm on the fence whether I think it's good or I don't know. I don't know if that's right to say. If I think that I should like it or if I should fall in the same like how Bruce Perky feels. I guess
what?
About Paprika and Inception.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say you love Nolan and he's ripping off at people left and right.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just like I guess I understand how he feels.
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes sense for you too because you hold Malick in such high regard. But think about this: I'm playing devil's advocate because feel how you want to feel. I agree. You know, if that's how you feel, come away from it. A person who attempts to make a Malickian style movie and is incompetent is going to make a dreadful mess. It's
Yeah.
going to be pretentious as all get out, and obviously is trying to rip somebody off. You know, I think the influence here is great. Take away the two songs that were also lifted from Tree of Life, which I didn't catch those. Take away those, I think that they feel like completely different.
Obviously,
filmmakers.
they're very different movies, but
Yeah.
it is Terrance Malick if you made a horror movie.
Yeah, that's a great tagline for this.
I love it. I love it.
And it's not even like a secret. It's like because people have described that this movie is like a Malick movie.
I never read it. I don't know hardly anything about like.
Because I was like, after I made that realization, I looked it up, and it was like a review on this movie.
Wow.
And it was like a positive review on this movie, saying like I've seen enough Malick imitations to know when I see a good one.
Oh, okay.
And it's weird if it didn't have that. Just for me, like I don't know, because it's like the story is great.
Yeah,
It's really good, but it is like The Witch. Obviously, how can you not make that comparison?
sure.
In the 4x3 horror movie,
Yeah, I didn't need that. I didn't need the 4x3.
that was Malick doesn't do the 4x3.
No, I know. Clearly, it's not a Malick movie. It's not in 16:9.
Yeah, but yeah, it was really really intriguing and it was captivating and the shots were great. But yeah, just in my own head,
Stuck in your craw, huh?
it just seems like
Can't get
it
past
seems like they just like everybody watched this movie. We're gonna remake these shots, and in the editing,
Yeah.
and the voiceover, and yeah. Anyway,
I'm confused. So you came
so
out
am
as
I.
this-
Joseph,
That's
yeah.
why. So depending on how this conversation goes, I will like fall on one side of the fence or the other.
Now I'm gonna make implore one of our classmates, Joseph Bridges. I want to find out, and I know he knows this. And Matt Stillman, I think, is going to be another guy who knows this on a deep level. Bruce can chime in as well, but I think that between Matt Stillman and Joseph Bridges, we can find out
Who's ripping off who?
who's Terrance Malick ripping off. That's what I want to know. So when I watched 8.5 by Fellini, I'm looking at it. I'm like, there's some really. It's very strange, and Bergman also has some like very artistic, like almost surrealistic shots, and some camera movements. So you're like, "What the fuck? They were doing this in the 50s, 60s? It's crazy, you know." So I know that there's nothing new under the sun and all that kind of stuff. I think Malick has perfected that look, and I know it came from somewhere, but he like honed it to the perfect peak. It's like
I would
it's
I would agree.
condensed art.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, I don't know enough about film history. My knowledge doesn't go that deep to know who influenced him, because I know that came from somewhere.
Is this your first? This is not your first
No,
watch. How many times have you seen this film?
This is number 2. So I'll give my initial thoughts. So I watched this in 2022 when it first came out. I might have even heard of it on Find Your Film or Cinematics. So it might have been Bruce or Eric or Greg that recommended this, to their listeners, which I'm one of. And I watched it. Brianna and I watched it. The queen to my king, and we both we both came away with it the same, which was, this is a very unique movie. And honestly, back then, I don't think I'd seen Tree of Life one time and it didn't stick with me. I was too young and I wasn't ready for it. Since I watched You Won't Be Alone the first time and this next time, in between, we revisited Tree of Life for the show.
Yeah.
And I absolutely fell in love with it. Like, that style was just beautiful, and watching it, just the gorgeousness of it, the painting of a movie. And watching it again, You Won't Be Alone, that is, I was able to focus more on the story instead of that kind of like abstract sort of way of telling the story. So the actual like beats of the story, you got this young baby, and you got this, she's going to be 16 years of isolation, and then she's left out into the real world, but not before she's turned into a witch. So I completely forgot about that from the first time. I didn't even realize that it was the baby and she was in isolation for so long. And maybe I was like cooking dinner or something like that, finishing whatever I was making and then settling in to watch a movie.
You're making food?
Settling in to watch a movie, for the night, the first time. But in this moment, in this second viewing, watching it for the show, the story is great. The idea of this Macedonian folklore, that this is how witches operate in their culture. It's not a coincidence that I referenced border on the intro to this, because in Norwegian folklore they have trolls. Yeah, and we learned all about trolls from Border, and they got dicks that come out in the
mushroom dicks
from the females, and they make unfertilized babies that just live. It's just all this weird stuff that I never would have thought. And in this Macedonian witch lore, you get to learn about the witch's spit, and you get to learn about the shape-shifting and pulling guts out of somebody and putting them into the witch to create the shape-shifting element.
Yeah. And it's much more akin to the Navajo folklore of skinwalkers.
I don't know enough about it to know, but all I know is being exposed to this witch lore from Macedonia. It was fascinating. And I there's a line at the very beginning of the movie when the mother, who's essentially donating her baby to this witch, says, for penance of the tragedy and the atrocity that happened to you under this very roof, I'm sorry, and you can have my baby, or something like that. And you're like, because you're Old Maid Mary, and you're like, I want to know more about Old Maid Mary. And don't worry, give it about 45 minutes or an hour, and you're going to hear all about the Old Maid Mary.
That's interesting that you said that, because what I got from that was that because obviously going into spoilers, the main witch is Old Maid Mary that's referenced in the beginning of the film.
It's literally the first scene. It's not a spoiler.
Okay. I just, what I inferred from the scene was that the witch she said she needed like fresh blood from a newborn. Yeah, new blood. And so she was going to take the baby, much like in The Witch, where take the baby and, mash them up and stick them in a stew.
Tyler, I'm still on my initial thoughts.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I apologize.
Again, every week.
I know.
Every week.
I get caught up in these discussions.
It's okay. Just write it down, a little note for yourself. You can bring it back later. Anyways, you get a little bit of that storytelling element at the beginning, and it's paid off in the end. And it really does have more of a narrative structure than I remember it having. I thought it was just stream of consciousness. And but Tree of Life is way harder to connect those dots about what's happening. I think this tells a more straight ahead story.
Sure.
And it's a story of discovery. It's almost like an alien visiting Earth, because she has no exposure in her first 16 years. And if you were an adult that got turned into a witch, you wouldn't have to learn how to walk and learn what sex is and learn what the place of a man is in society and the place of a woman is in society. She learns all of that from, has to learn that along the way, also learning how to be a witch and how to learn how to
not only be a witch, be a woman.
Exactly. And she keeps saying that throughout the whole thing. She's like, yeah, and a man too. And she's like, I am, it's me, the witch. And then she says, I just want to be me, the nothing. And then she says, it's me, the mother, and then me, the woman.
There's so many great lines in this film.
There's a lot of, it's like a intro, like a retrospective about like the society and societal expectations for different people and different cultures and parts of being in society. And that part was completely lost on me on the first watch. Second watch, beautiful, wonderful. And it is so interesting the way this story is told. And you have having multiple actors playing essentially the same character at different parts of the journey. It's very Cloud Atlas-like, you know? And
that's a good comparison. Yeah.
I just can't imagine like what it would take to direct a movie like this. So very, very strong, big props, big ups to
Goran,
what's his name?
Stolevski,
who wrote and directed this.
Yeah.
And just the fact that he wanted to take something of his culture, because he's Macedonian, and teach the world about this, because we've seen movies about Wendigos, we've seen movies about maybe not so much about skinwalkers or whatever. We've seen movies about Bigfoots and Mothman prophecies and all this stuff, and it's like, but
our version.
Yeah.
We've seen Hocus Pocus.
yes, we have it, the lore. But what does Macedonians' witch culture look like? That's what I want to know.
It's very
Nestled right below Romania and Bulgaria.
Isn't that where the Honeyland documentary takes place?
Yes, it is. I was going to bring that up later because what a great little That's all I know about Macedonia was those ridiculous,
the
ridiculous
family.
neighbors that were trying to steal the bee knowledge off of those people.
Yeah.
And now I know about
The
witches.
travelers.
Yeah. So, anyways, I fucking love this. On a second watch, it was fantastic, and I hope that some people will take away this conversation and go out and seek this out to watch. I'm definitely going to look for it on physical media because I could see myself watching this again in the future.
Yeah, I completely agree. I can definitely see myself watching this again, just to like, because I don't think I missed anything from this film, but just to, you know, really like take in like the beauty of the storytelling, because ultimately from what I got from this story is that it's a coming of age sort of film, and it's done super subtly and
it's interesting
done.
because she's got a coming of age, but it's set through different, you know, body types.
Yeah.
So she does play a little girl for a while, or she does take the form of the little girl for a while, which is more appropriate to her like mental capacity.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that she's in the Numi Rapace body, and then she's in the handsome guy that she takes over at some point.
Yes.
She's in his body. And then only when she goes into the little girl's body does she stay in it for a period of time, because she grows up into an adult in that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she felt maybe more at home and she in that body.
Because she never had a childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
So she didn't
she's
have a mother or anything. So
Yeah.
she got that when she was.
So that was really obvious. Like,
And it's like a weird, with that specific storyline, when she tears up that child and takes over her identity.
Yeah.
It's like she does like the parents a favor at the same time without like they don't have
That's
to
interesting.
they don't have to lose a daughter, even though they technically did. But they're none the wiser to that idea.
I think-
so. It's like she did a service.
Well, it's like
they don't really like lay out the rules of like what you can and can't do with a body. Like if it's dead, like can you change into it and bring it back to life?
you absolutely can, because she
is that right? Okay.
She took the form of multiple people that were dead.
Yeah, the child.
Yeah, the child
Alright,
that we're talking about.
okay.
It's like in Us when she gets changed. Spoiler alerts for Us. If anybody hasn't seen that, skip ahead a minute. But she switches places with her tethered person.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
that's
when
right,
she comes up and she has no voice, and they're just like, oh, she's a little kid. She was traumatized. She's got to train her voice back. If you're a 45-year-old guy who now acts like a 6-year-old girl
And you don't talk.
it's weird. But if you're a kid that has this traumatic incident, people are just
It makes more sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense, and it's forgivable. They're like, kids are dumb anyways. You know, she
I
just
mean,
forgot how to talk.
The
sorry, go ahead.
The whole voiceover thing makes sense for this movie because she doesn't have a voice. Another thing, a little bit of a detractor from the
Here
movie
it goes.
Okay.
was, and it's a technical thing, the voiceover was not very well recorded.
It was like all whispers.
It was like
Oh, I get you.
I could like hear the
pee pops.
yeah. It was I don't know why they did that.
I don't know either.
Like why would you keep it in?
Yeah.
If it's
I think
it's a lot of
You
whispering.
need to get that sock on that mic.
It's a lot of like
I think the direction was supposed to be that you were in the head of the main
no, I understand
character.
that, but I'm just saying on a technical level,
Yeah,
they just didn't do it right.
There's no reason to leave pee pops.
I think
yeah, it is like sounding like our podcast.
Yeah.
what is that? Oh, God. I really like the story, and I love the brutality of having to change into something else as this quote unquote witch, is where if you want to be something else, you have to kill something in order for you to embody the body that you just killed. And I thought that was really interesting on a certain level, because you're essentially sacrificing something.
No, you're murdering something.
It's
Sacrifices of yourself.
Oh, you know what?
Well, I
You're
guess
right.
you're right. You can sacrifice people like the Incans used to sacrifice people, right?
They were murdering people.
Yeah.
But it's such a selfish deed, and when you think about the girl who was we're not going to beat around the bush. She was imprisoned in that cave by her mother.
yeah.
She had the best intentions for her because she didn't want this witch to.
I don't think was her plan. So the plan was that the witch comes when the girl's a baby, and she's like I'm going to kill the baby now. But instead of that, she says, how about instead of, and that's where the name of the title of the movie comes from. She says, how about instead of killing her, I'll save her as a virgin for you until she's 16, and then you can have her as a companion so you won't be alone. And you can turn her instead of killing her. Right? That's the plot, right?
Yeah, that's in the beginning, and then she thinks that she can
outsmart the witch or something.
She thinks she can bless this cave prison with like the whole like crosses and stuff like that.
That was clearly an old church or something, because it had paintings on the wall.
It had like a wall,
essentially
like a low wall.
Essentially, she thought she was protected in there, and then once she came of age, then
This isn't Sleepy Hollow. They can just go in the church.
yeah.
The witch just flies in there as a.
They don't have to be invited in.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about like supernatural movies like this, is when like the evil character, like they just like do not like adhere to any of these like like Christian sort of like
Christian.
Yeah, because she was doing the whole like cross
you're
thing,
right.
and so she like that witch does not adhere to any of that sort of thing. And she just
Not like other girls.
she just goes in there and she's like, yeah, it's time now. And
Who's her boss? The devil.
They mention her as the devil. They reference her as being the devil, which we know is not true, because the devil has a forked tail and horns.
That's right,
And a pitchfork.
That's right, yeah, and a pitchfork, and his skin is.
And he's got a mustache.
Yeah, he has a mustache and
twirls it.
he has the skin of a hot dog. But
I think it's weird coincidental that this Macedonian witch lore is Romania is only 2 countries away. It's like Serbia and Montenegro.
and like Turkey
and
or something
Bulgaria.
like that.
Well, Turkey's like south
Because
there.
they talk about
their vampires come from Romania, and there's similar kind of a witch and a vampire. You know,
Vampires come from Romania. Witches come from Macedonia.
trolls come from Norway.
Yeah. Werewolves come from
London.
Yeah.
From London.
No, that's true. I think what I really liked about this movie as well is because it really whoever I can't remember who the name of the actress was who played the girl who was in the cave. She really portrayed like being like having like this like really crazy anxiety of being out in the open, because all she known for her whole life was just being in that cave, that godforsaken cave. And
Allegory of the cave.
And I really liked her dialogue of her saying, I never want to see those cave walls again. Like, or I never want to see the walls again.
Yeah,
or
she
something.
talks about how her whisper mother
her whisper mother
turned into her witch mother. And sometimes she wishes she could still see her whisper mother, but she'll never wish to see those walls again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Her whisper mother was code for her real mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, when I first started watching this movie, I think it was about 25 to 35 minutes in, I thought it was going to be her being the protege to
She was.
For a little bit, but like I thought like
She's a failure.
I thought they were just going to be palling around, going to towns, like drinking the blood of like goats and donkeys and what have you.
Well, she
kind of do it.
She pulled a Terrance Fletcher on her, and she's like, "This, I'm gonna make you learn the hard way." She's from Whiplash.
Yeah.
She's like, "You're just gonna have to be on your own and figure this shit out."
She says, "Look how far you can get like without me." And then she does, but like I really loved like some of the moments of like when the old witch would like come into like her life and
Pop
just
her head in and be like, "Look at you,
they're
look at ye."
and she'll say they're gonna find you out. And I really like that foreshadowing, because when she eventually turns into the kid and they tell the story of was old maid Maria. I almost said Maria. she makes like it clicks in her head and she's like, oh my God, that's her.
Yeah.
And that's why she kept like
I
doing
got
this
a
like
warning.
warning.
Question: Why do we still burn witches? Like, if
Why don't we
Nowadays?
still burn witches?
this was in the 18th century.
This movie?
Yes, 19th century, 1800s. And they're still trying to burn witches in Salem and shit. It didn't work.
What is it in Macedonia?
Look at
they don't
old-
know about Salem.
Look at old maid Maria. She didn't die. She just turned into a
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, she just turned into a wrinkled old peach.
She was burned to death.
To death. She was walking around.
Not to okay, yeah. No, I guess she wasn't
I mean,
burned to
once,
death.
once you
but-
see her, you can like. I feel like once I saw her, I was like, oh, she was burned.
Yeah,
at some
clearly,
point.
yeah.
And but her, the way that they portray
How she becomes a witch.
no, just like her.
Oh.
Just the witch in general. Wolf eateress, or whatever.
yeah, wolf eaters.
Is very nonchalant.
Oh yeah, she's just chilling.
She's like, yeah, I'm a witch, whatever. You know.
She reminds me of how the creature in It Follows is. Just meandering through life, walking along, not a care in the world. Just gonna go.
Not a care in the
Yeah.
world.
Because the witch that turned old maid Maria into the witch did the same thing.
Yeah.
She gets found out. She's sucking on that horse in the
Basement.
basement or
across
And she
the-
just
whatever that is.
nude
yeah,
and walks
and then-
nonchalantly
and
off
then-
into the forest.
And then Maria comes up and goes, like Caesar, doesn't say a word, which makes eye contact with her. And then she just gets up and walks out. Doesn't run, doesn't get excited, doesn't attack her. She literally is just like, I'm a witch. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm just going to walk away.
I'm a witch.
I
Whatever.
have nothing to gain from your.
I'm a witch.
from
I'm just a
violence.
Witch.
I
just
know.
a witch.
What do you want from me?
Let me eat my horse's blood under your house.
Yeah. And on that same topic, how desperate do you have to be for a husband and a child to be like, can you make me
like
a witch?
like a genie.
I know. I know she doesn't ask to be turned into a witch. She's like, can you grant? She basically says, can you cast a spell and get me a husband so I
Yeah.
can have a child?
Alakazam.
Like you have to think about like the circumstances of the society that she was currently living in. Is that if you didn't have a husband, it's kind of like
It's a death sentence.
It's
What
kind of
happened
like no.
in the origin story of the old maid Maria,
Yeah.
she has sex with a sick man, and then gets pregnant.
But yeah, which is basically the monkey's paw version of her wish coming true.
Yes.
Yeah. She's like,
Yeah,
you want a
you said-
husband and a child, huh?
Here you go.
Here you
Now
go.
they're gonna die, and you're gonna get burned at the stake.
Yeah, this guy's got
He has
tuberculosis.
Yeah, he's got the consumption, and
What was I going to say? The actual, there's a little tiny little bit of story that they talk about the reason why she couldn't get a husband, which is interesting because last week one of my stream picks was Dracula Untold. The plot, which I didn't get
I know
into
where you're
because
going with
that
this,
movie's
yeah.
not great, is that the Sultan of Turkey in that era basically would recruit young children and young men from all over that region to be part of his army.
Yeah.
So in that
Yeah.
they said, oh, the Turkish, all the children were recruited and the young men were recruited to go to fight for Turkey. So there were no men available in her region.
yeah,
They were all taken off to war. So she
that was a
literally.
little bit on the nose.
she's
But
li-
I like the
What are you
context.
talking about on the nose? That's
mean-
what would happen back then.
I know.
It's historically accurate. How's that on the nose?
Sorry. I thought you were just talking about within the context of the story.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
what
know
I'm
that
saying.
was actually real. They were taking young
That's-
men.
Yes, that's what happened.
I guess they did that in the Nam. So.
Yes, it's. I'm just confused where you're coming with that. But either way, it makes sense for her because in all reality, she would be fucked. And all she has is she's got her life, and there's a great line too that it says that her life was like a river, constantly running but going nowhere. And it's like she's just living. Ain't that just the way?
I was gonna mention that line. That is
Tyler
such
says
a
that
beautiful
too.
line.
I've walked up on Tyler. He's sitting in his car before the show starts. And he's just in there smoking a cigarette, and he's like, "My life is like a river, always running, never going anywhere." And I'm like, "Hey, Tyler, get out of the car. We got to record."
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. We
Get
have
your
a
shit
show.
together.
I know. Contemplate reality on your own time.
I know.
You're on the
I
clock
always-
right now.
I always get into an existential, existential dredge But there is some really great lines. I really like when the character, what is her name? Like Biana?
The witch. Her name's the witch.
Okay, the young witch. Every time she goes and experience like the carnal pleasures of the
of the 13 unique blends of herbs and spices.
When she when she's like a man or when she's another woman, she's like, oh my.
Why don't we all go to a river and just do that?
Oh, and then have a group jerk session afterwards too.
Why don't we can do that right now, my friend?
Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, back to back.
Let's just hang out in the nude.
I have a perfect place that we can go to.
Your parents' pool.
She was a dog. She was a dog, and that's when she saw that.
Part of me was like, why didn't she just turn it? Because there is a point when she has the child, she has her own baby.
Yes.
And she has a committed, loving relationship. She has a baby. She grows up from the child all the way to the adult,
falls in love.
Has the baby, and then she's like hiding the baby away because she knows the witch is coming for her.
Yeah.
And the witch does come for the baby and
kills the baby.
But
no, it doesn't kill the baby. It cuts the vocal cord.
Oh, yeah. It does the same thing you did to her.
Yeah, just...
Yeah, which was fucking like that was hard to watch.
The
First part, the first
God.
scene when she sticks the long witch finger down the baby's throat.
Yeah.
And the baby's spitting up all the blood.
I thought she slit her baby's throat, and that's why she...
It looked like it, but the baby was fine.
I thought...
It stops crying right then, too, so I have to assume that she did. That's her move.
I thought it was...
that's old maid Maria's move.
I thought it was the tongue, like, because this happens in the beginning of the movie. I thought it was the tongue, but then... Of course, they explain that it's the...
She like a surgeon?
It's the vocal cord.
She's just good,
she just knows where to go.
She's a witch.
Well,
what can you say?
She's a witch!
But anyways, in that moment, I was thinking, if she wants to still keep around the daughter, but doesn't want to be found out, I guess, like give her to a different parent, like drop her off in the old fire department male slot. And then she could just turn into like a cat or something and be like, I'm going to watch my baby, grow up and be basically the house cat for the family.
You know what's interesting is like
she could do that. She could be an animal. She could be a friggin' and furthermore, if she can turn into a little cat or a big dog or a deer or a wolf or anything, in theory, she could turn into a little lizard. Or like a housefly.
She could take those tiny little organs.
Yeah, she could take it.
She stuffed the fly in
the hole.
In the hole.
She just takes the fly and puts it in her breast pocket.
She eats it. But then, or she can even be a paramecium. She could turn herself.
I don't even know what that is.
She could turn herself into like a single cellular organism.
Oh my god. Okay, no, I think
she could be an axolotl.
Yeah,
I don't think it goes.
She could be a lobster. They're immortal.
A lobster. So what I thought this movie was going to be was it was going to be old Maria finding her humanity and trying to
getting away from being a witch.
Yeah, because
she's done with the witch life.
Because obviously,
I don't think Maria's got any hope left in her. The new witch, maybe.
So you have to understand that she has.
I don't have to understand shit.
Okay, fine then. But so be it. But she has been alive for a couple of thousand of years, and so I was thinking.
She's seen some.
I don't think it's 1,000. I think it's a couple hundred, because it said it's happened a couple centuries ago.
Oh, a couple centuries ago. Okay. She's been around for a while. So I was thinking along the lines of that she wanted to regain her humanity back after doing her witch stuff for centuries.
This is what you thought it was going to be.
That's what I thought it was going to be. But then it came to
Then it was not that.
Yes, thank you. And then it came to be a tale of this poor abused girl experiencing human pleasure. I think the killings were not justified. I think the only killing that was justified was when the son tried to force himself onto her.
Which son? Which one?
You
mean the husband?
No, it was the older son. It was the older son, and it was like in the beginning of the movie. It was like in like the 45-minute mark, maybe.
That was when she took on the first male form.
No, it was the first female form. She was lying. She was. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think so. And she was.
That was her husband.
No, that was her quote unquote brother.
Oh, okay.
But it was the son of the mom who was taking care of her, and I think
I'm pretty sure that was a husband. That was the husband.
That wasn't a husband.
Yes,
no,
it was,
that was.
And now I know what you're talking about. It was absolutely the husband.
That was not.
It was the abusive. It was her abusive husband that the mom kept saying, don't worry, a pox on both of them.
He got it from, she said,
He got it from Hare's dad, and that wasn't the dad. There was only the dad and the son.
Okay.
It was her husband.
All right.
Not that it matters, but she was she was about to get raped, and she killed the guy.
I'll believe you that. I guess I just misunderstood because like I thought he was the son of the mother, and that was the sister, or that was his sister.
Anyways, the point is that she has freakish witch strength, and she killed very easily too. She just like, this guy's on top of her, she just goes, "Ugh," and it's dead.
Into his
dead.
abdomen.
He's dead right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when she is the younger guy, and
that was my favorite part of the movie.
And she is like, in his body, and then there's that other girl who like sees him, and they go to the barn.
They go for a literal roll in the hay.
And I was like, that must be so weird.
What's weird about it?
To be a woman in this guy's body who has not experienced any sort of like sex and is experiencing it from the male perspective.
It's a real being John Malkovich situation.
And but the way that that actor was acting, like he obviously looks like she's like looking confused and scared. And like what's going on? And
it's like Tom Hanks in Big, where he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
What are these sensations?
And but the way he's like the actor was like, he was bordering on like he like had like a mental disability. Like,
oh my goodness.
I would say that's probably my biggest criticism of this is that and I get it. It makes sense because she was held captive for 16 years with zero stimulation. Anybody would be insane at that point. And
zero exposure to anything.
And this is all happening very fast within, you have to imagine, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like, I hate to say it, it's almost like Maddie Ziegler in music, where she's like wandering around just like, whoa, what's happening over here?
God,
and then I know, and
it's like the whale in Hitchhikers. Whoa, what's happening?
and then when she takes over, like Noomi Rapace the actress takes over in the body, and she's now in this new fully grown woman. She takes on the mannerisms of that a little bit, and she
practices it too.
I know she does I'm saying she's now is the same mind in that new body, so she still walks like a weird stilted walk and does the whole
I didn't
head
even
turn
notice that. Yes,
sort
yes,
of thing.
yes.
And it's like that was my least favorite part of her performance, was just this like almost bordering on cringe version of this person who's living in this world, this fish out of water sort of thing, and then it goes to the next actor, and you're like, oh, they're doing it too. Oh, great.
But they justify it very well though, because
it makes sense. It doesn't. I'm not saying it's not justified. It's just a little cringe. It's just a little cringe.
I don't know.
Hey Tyler.
Yes.
Your streaming pick from May of this year, Ginger and Rosa.
Ginger and Rosa.
You was one of your streaming picks?
That was no, that couldn't have been mine.
It absolutely is one of your streaming picks.
Ginger and Rosa. I don't remember that one.
The second character, it's a look at the lives of two teenage girls, inseparable friends, Ginger and Rosa, growing up in 1960s London as a Cuban Missile Crisis looms.
Yes, that's right. I do
Rosa
remember that.
is played by Alice Englert, who is the witch, Old Maid Mary.
Wow.
Yeah, Old Maid Mary.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great film.
Yeah.
It's a great film.
that I
just remembered.
I totally forgot about.
That I just remembered moments ago.
Yeah.
I think I did like the justification, because I did think that this movie could have failed because of like, the weird walking, the muteness.
You think that you thought that for this whole thing, or are you just saying that because I just said that?
Wait, what do you mean? Like
the weird walking?
No, I thought that too. I was just piling onto your point.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking that if the village that she like traversed to each village, and they didn't like realize that there was like a witch like among them, it would
us.
it would have just they would have caught them very, very fast. But like, so with the male, they know that he made his love on a witch, and they think, okay, so he's cursed now. He doesn't have a voice, whatever. And then with the first Noomi, I can't remember her last name. With the first girl that she transforms into, oh my God, can you turn this off? No. With the first girl that she transforms into, she's covered in blood and she's obviously traumatized, and they blame it on the witch as well. Like there's like a justification, like, oh, because she's been in contact with this witch, like that's why she is the way that she is. I'm really happy that they
Where are you going with this, Tyler?
I'm just saying, I was just getting to that. I'm really happy they didn't throw that under the rug, like, so to speak. As far as a prominent figure in the village just going mute and not doing anything, like,
Comment on that a number of times. Anyway,
Did they comment about the younger guy?
Hmm? Yeah.
What did they say?
They said that he was traumatized, essentially.
How?
because he made love.
Yeah, but they didn't find out until later.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
the guy who. Like the young, like, fit guy?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they mentioned that specifically about him not talking.
He just like stops talking.
Yeah. I don't think she was in that body for very long.
No, she wasn't.
The old witch. She obviously doesn't want to be a witch. Like she's living hell right now and has been doing so for centuries, right?
Yeah.
And because near the end, right before she gets killed, finally, I don't know why she didn't kill her sooner. She gets killed finally after, she saves her baby. Right before that, she says, it's so simple for you. As if like she's jealous.
Yeah.
Extremely jealous that this younger new witch has you've had it easy. She's a boomer and this new witch is a zillennial.
It's interesting because the young witch actually tries to assimilate into culture, and she's just happy to be out of the cave.
Her old ways are,
yeah. The old witch is just like, she's angry about life because
she's very bitter.
Within the first, month of her being a witch, she didn't even realize she's a witch yet. She's forced to bang that guy with tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
The guy dies. She dies because she can't suck the blood or whatever.
Blood.
and she immediately, after she sucks the first blood, she kills the donkey, sucks the blood from the donkey, and then she wakes up to being burnt to the cross. It's like she's jaded at this point. She's lived a sexless, bitter old maid life, gets turned into a witch, and immediately has to bang this like syphilis patient who's on the end of his life.
She's a pessimist.
Yeah, exactly. She sees the worst in things, and then the young witch is just like, wow, water. Wow.
Look at these babbling brooks.
Look, a lizard. Can you believe it? A lizard. She's just excited to be there.
What world is this?
I know. And then she's like, wait a second. This chick's banging me in the barn? This is great.
Dang, I'm a dude now.
I'm a dude.
She's a dude.
You know what?
We're all dudes.
I don't like it. I'm going to go back to being a little girl.
You know what would have been crazy, which I thought it was going to go.
Okay.
It would have been like a little twist.
Okay.
Is that when she grows up in that kid's body and she gets married to that guy and then they have a kid together, you never see him talk the whole time they're together.
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
And he's a witch.
For the whole time, wouldn't it have been nuts if that was Old Maid Maria?
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Wouldn't that have been crazy?
That's the long con.
Now that would have been great.
I would have blown my mind.
Yeah.
That
You're
would
like, the movie went into a very weird direction.
that would have been.
But almost just as much of a troll is that she waits for her entire life. And you have to assume that Old Maid Maria has been watching this little girl, this witch in the little girl's body grow up. You have to assume, between 10 and 14 years or so. She's grown.
I would say like 14 to
grown
16
up
years.
into this age, and now she's up breeding age and marriage age and
breeding age.
And
what is that?
She's ripe for breeding.
Yeah, she's ripe for breeding. She can have kids now.
Oh my God, that is.
Hey, we're talking about the times, man.
Yeah, she's getting ready to breed,
Okay.
and she has offspring. You say offspring all the time. You say spawn when you're talking about your imaginary children. Judge me.
There's no judgment.
Anyways, Maria's watching this whole time, and she's just like, think I should go kill that guy now? I think I should go fuck with her a little bit more now. Because she pops her head in every different iteration of of the young witch's life.
You're going to get caught.
Yeah, she keeps popping her head in, but then she leaves her untouched, uncontacted for like 12, 14 years until she probably just forgets about it. And she goes, I hope that Maria's doing good. Wherever she's at, I hope she figured her shit out. Hope she's still a therapist. Got rid of the hate in her heart. And then she gets married, talks about how much she loves the guy, is pregnant, doesn't have the child yet, but is pregnant with the child, and is blissfully happy. She's found happiness in life. Her life is not a river.
Yeah, she found her place.
And then Maria comes out of nowhere, turns into the boar, and kills her husband. And it's like, that's a fucking long con too.
So
she waited all that time to find the perfect, most spiteful way to fuck with her.
Do you think it was to F with her, or do you think that she was trying to protect her?
F? What do you mean F? I don't know what that means. And definitely not the second version. How would that being protective of her?
Because
she let her found her perfect life.
Because her husband knew that she was a witch. So
she found.
Do you remember that?
She found perfect acceptance, and now what?
But do you remember that monologue that old maid Maria said that even if your husband found out that you're a witch, he will take you to that cross without a second. What
in her own fucked up way, she's trying to protect her.
That's what I thought. I thought
I could see maybe because
I kind of took it as she's trying to get other people to see that she's a witch.
I think so too. I think that's pretty much what I thought. And
really, wow, I took a completely opposite direction.
I think it's up for interpretation. I think
like husbands gets killed. That's what happened when she became a witch. Like her husband was sick and died, but they were eventually.
Yeah, but that was arranged.
But
still,
exactly.
But it still happened.
This was arranged too.
Yeah, that's just how marriage was back then.
Because
but they were in love.
What I'm saying is that she killed her husband because she wants essentially to frame her as a witch because she's a witch, so that she will also get burned.
Wow, you know what? This show.
Well, Maria is spiteful, and she's like, if I had a hard time with it,
jealous,
you need to have a hard time with it.
You know, it's so interesting how this show illuminates these differing opinions, because after I watched the movie, I thought it was just her trying to be a matriarch because it was her only witch's spit, as she says, and she knew the dangers of someone finding out that she was a witch, or at least being accused of a witch. And I thought for myself that old Maria, she found out that the husband knew. And even though the husband accepted her for who she was, she did not want to risk to have Biliana, I think that's her name, the younger witch, to have the same fate as her. That's what I got out of it.
Tyler, were you scared throughout this movie?
I was unnerved. I was unnerved.
You said in the past that witches are your number one fear.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And not specifically any witch, but evil witches. And I would like to say there's no less than 2 evil witches in this.
What?
Yeah,
2 evil witches.
There's no less than 2 evil witches in this movie.
There's only one.
No, there's not.
There's only one.
It's the one that turns Maria.
Yeah, Maria. Oh, and then
that turns Maria.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I was unnerved. I was unnerved.
Joseph, what do you got to say? I'll stop Tyler because he can't stop himself.
I know. I'll go on and on.
But yeah, it kind of like a little. It follows the plot of like Darth Vader, Palpatine, especially because she looks like Palpatine.
Yeah, there you go.
And because she kills, she finally kills her master.
Yeah, that's true.
At the end, and then in the sequel, she'll be back somehow.
Yeah. You won't be alone too. Now you're really alone.
Well, Maria, how dare she? Like she wants to have progeny, and then she treats.
And then gets mad when she has it.
And then she's bothered by it. And it's like you made this
She should have known that she was going to be a dope when she agreed to have her locked away for 16 years.
She should have been a little bit understanding. She's had centuries of life experience
compared to her none.
I know. A little bit of trivia. This was Goran Stolevski. He says he traced the terrifying legend of his family's homeland to find his characters and plot. From researching Macedonian folktales, I discovered that when individuals were accused of witchcraft, they were also suspected of taking the shape of another person or animal. Those 2 things sparked the idea for the film. Numi Rapace had no idea that she was going to be nude in the movie.
Dynamite communication.
Yeah. Goran Stolevski asked her about it, and he said, what's your comfort level the night before the production had began? And
The night before.
And it caught her totally off guard. He pointed out the part of the script that described her character as appearing, quote, as she was on the day she was born, end quote.
God.
And said that meant she was going to be naked. Rapace thought to herself, oh, God, what have I gotten myself into? But couldn't back out because she was also the EP for this.
Oh, my God.
Her fears quickly subsided the next day when she began filming. The location, the scenery, combined with the fact that Stolevski, quote, did not feel like a first-time director, allowed her to immerse herself in the scene and the nudity, which to her made sense for the character.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Good for
So
her.
you're ready to be naked tomorrow, sweetheart?
yeah. let me see those
The night
gams.
before production. Can you imagine?
Well, yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of talk online about people saying the younger generation saying that there is no point of having a sex scene in a film.
What?
Like, at what point does a sex scene ever help any part of the plot? I would say that this movie has a number of sex scenes which are very integral to the plot and make
Yes.
total sense within the plot. I'm gonna log this one away anytime someone's having that argument.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, but have you ever seen this Macedonian movie?
Yeah, fuck you.
What about this one, huh? By
Fuck you, Zoomer.
first time director. I agree with that. But
Agree with what?
with like, you don't need to have a full on sex scene in a movie. You can imply.
That's the argument. Is most of it needs to be implied,
I'd rather have the implication.
but a lot of people say that that's a form of rape. Having a sex scene is a form of rape
Oh, because we're not consenting?
because we're not consenting to seeing it, and then also the characters never consented, even though they're fictional characters.
What do you mean? What, the characters didn't consent?
Yes.
What does that mean?
They never consented.
But
You wrote them that way.
Oh my God. Okay.
So
okay.
that's a
a
far end of the spectrum, and I agree that most of the time it's better to imply than to just overtly show. But if you were to never do that, then we'd never have Antichrist and Willem Dafoe's Huang in HD, black and white, going at it.
They had to CGI his.
No, it was a prosthetic.
Oh, it was a prosthetic.
But it was modeled after.
Yeah.
because it was too big.
They just clicked resize and shrunk it down about 20%.
Oh man, I don't
more-
know. Like I agree that like the sex scenes in this film were definitely
Also, what
necessary.
about Basic Instinct, erotic thrillers? You need the sex scenes for those. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly right.
But then that comes back to like, you wrote a movie about a woman who has sex with men to kill them.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just have her killing men?
Because it's funner when they're banging.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Because it's Sharon Stone. All right. Anyways, more trivia. This film was selected and submitted
Go on and on about this.
as Australia's official entry for International Film category at the 95th Academy Awards. This is Australia's entry. Interesting.
That's weird that it's Australia's.
Yeah,
entry. I
yeah.
saw the Australia like film commission or whatever that pop up, and I was like,
Goran Stolevski is from Australia. Well, he's born in North Macedonia, but
"There's no film commission in Macedonia."
yeah, and that's the last piece of trivia. Goran Stolevski was born in North Macedonia and immigrated to Australia with his family in his childhood.
Interesting. Is he Australian, mate?
I did watched an interview with Numi and Goran that they were talking about this movie, and she specifically said the thing that brought her to the film and why she was so interested in it was that the acting portion of it was like a group effort because all of the actors have to lean on each other's performances to perfect their performance because it's the same character. So there's like five different actors playing the same character at different points in the story. And so they work together.
5.
They kind of work together for, acting bits, how they lean on each other. And then at the same time, just the fact that she thought the story was fascinating and teaching somebody about this culture of this, I don't know if you would call it a cryptid. It's not a cryptid if it's a humanoid, right? It's just a gabagool.
The cryptid is like Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's like an animal, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's the folklore of it, I think, was what attracted her to it.
I wonder how they directed the infants.
Yeah.
How they get them to
Like
cry?
what
Cute kids in this.
what's the
They give 'em a
direction
little-
that you give?
They flick their nose.
They flick their nose,
They probably
pluck out their hair.
pinch like the bottom of their feet or something like that.
Oh, that's terrible.
But anyways, the other thing I said that I gleaned from the interview, which was really interesting, is that Stolevski said that when he was a kid, he used to like to play with dolls, and he had to go do it in private. And there's that one scene when she's the young man, and she finds the dolls from the little
and
girl.
she starts playing with
with it, and then everyone else is like, "What the fuck are you doing? Go harvest your crop, idiot!" And
Go
he's
side some corn.
yeah, he
Or
had
wheat.
he had to go play in private because of the societal pressures and be like, you're not allowed to play with dolls as a kid. You know, this would have been, you know, early 2000s or whatever, and he was a kid. And maybe even like 80s or 90s. And he's like, just because that's what society says, a young boy is not allowed to play with dolls. And I was like, human beings make human beings.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. I think the toy of the doll is more interesting than the toy of the gun. You know, basically, fucking sue me. What do you want from me? You know, and he said the character, having been removed from society for 16 years,
She was playing with rocks for 16 years.
she has no preconceived notions about societal norms. So she comes into it and it's like, am I a guy? Am I a girl? It doesn't really matter. I'm just a thing. I'm a me.
Yeah.
She describes herself as nothing.
She says she wants to be nothing.
Oh, she wants to be nothing.
I thought the first time I watched this, I thought that meant that she wanted to die. But I think she's basically saying, I don't want to be thought of as you're, you know.
She's non-binary.
Here, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow.
Or, yeah.
We're breaking new ground.
Could be that. Yeah, in the 19th century Macedonia. The birth of non-binary.
It could be.
No, that's a really great point. I
It
didn't
could
even
be
think about that. That's
either
a really great
intentionally
point.
or unintentionally.
Yeah.
Like that message. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like that is a little bit of inspiration.
Sure.
In 2022, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that the idea of her being labeled as I'm me the witch, and then she doesn't want that. She just wants to be me the nothing, just me the me.
Yeah.
But me the me sounds weird. That sounds like a, you know, like
She just wants to be
Oingo Boingo cover band or
Me
something.
the
like
me.
that.
Just wants to be an individual. I also wanted to bring up one scene because I know we're running on time here. When
What is it?
can't I finish?
We'll start first.
What are you talking about?
When when that lady is giving birth, she's squatting, and the midwives are saying, "Oh, it's almost been 2 hours."
Okay.
And I thought it was because it was a concern that the baby hasn't came out in 2 hours. No, she gives birth to the baby, and they're just like, "Yeah, get back into the fields."
Oh yes. I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
I was like, "What?"
Back to the corn.
Back to the corn. Back to the wheat.
corn. And she waddles off, probably bleeding, and
Yep.
just.
There is no racial bigotry here.
Yeah.
No, you can't talk about that, Tyler. That's you're treading on a very loose ground right now.
What do you mean loose ground?
Oh yeah, it's Macedonians. They just shit a baby out, go right back to work.
That's what it was. That's how it was portrayed.
I did notice that too.
Yeah, it was funny.
I did laugh, and I think that's what woke up my poor mother.
You guys a cuddle session?
Oh God, stop it!
It was a weird to have to give birth like grabbing onto a fence. Like they weren't in another building.
She was fighting for her
Yeah,
life.
She's like, oh, I'm giving birth.
Yeah.
She was fighting for
hold
her
on.
life.
It's like taking a smoke break. Just walk
like-
over to the fence, grab tight.
Birth break.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's coming out.
In California, you're legally obligated 1 30-minute birth break every work session.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to say before we give our final grades? Tyler, give us your final grade.
Okay, I would give this a solid A. Hauntingly beautiful movie. I was unnerved for the most part. I think I was like on the edge of my seat because I was scared for our main character being found out about a witch.
Okay.
It felt like there was a lot of tension, and eventually she would lose control. I feel like she was aware that she could be found out, and then eventually, like when she was like living in the skin of these people that she carelessly murdered, she would forget that she was a witch. Like it would be in the back of her head, but it wasn't. But like the actors portrayed that so well about having like the second guessing of like, should I go, or like, am I being found out? Do they know? And old maid Maria, poisoning her head, like, oh, they're gonna find you out, just like they did with me. Like I really like that tension. Beautifully shot, definitely Terrance Malick-ness sort of film style, which I am a sucker for. And I'm only a sucker for this movie because the story was so well done. It's a very great coming of age film, and yeah, solid A from myself.
Okay, 8 for Tyler. Joseph, after our discussion and you're being fence riding about riding the coattails of Terrance Malick into this movie, where do you come down on it?
I don't know. I think it is like the story is an A. Like the story is very much an A because it is very unique and different, interesting, and it's got good production minus the not great voiceover. But I just noticed it here and there. It wasn't like throughout the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But when it did pop up, it like took me out.
Sure.
And I think this movie was put in an unfortunate position because we already have the witch. It couldn't do that style of like the way that Eggers did it, because he did it in a very static way, in a very framed way, and then but also this movie wanted to do like it wanted to be like you're there, like it wanted to put you in these villages, which is what Terrance Malick does in his more recent work with his camera work, like with the wide angle lenses. This movie doesn't use wide angle lenses very much. It was just, I feel like it couldn't find its own style, so it had to take from something else.
And for that, it gets an F.
No. At one point, I was like, this is either an A or an F movie.
Oh my God.
But that was when I was watching it. But yeah, it is an A. It's an A, and it is underseen, I think.
Yes.
It is not. It should be known more. I think Goran needs to find his own style, though.
Okay.
Because, wait, this is his feature debut?
No. He's got a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's Numi had said that it doesn't feel like a first time director. Like he basically felt very confident.
Because he's not a first time director.
I was gonna say, but that was just her statement.
Oh, interesting.
He's made. Oh, you know what? Everything before this has been a short. I'm sorry. This is his feature
debut.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think he just. Yeah, I don't know if it was like his choice. I mean, he's the director, so ultimately it's his vision, or if it was his DP's choice, or it was in the editing too. It was kind of like just all over.
Classic studio interference.
But yeah, I mean, it's a very well put together movie, and the plot is very well
realized,
told to us in a very interesting way, where I was first asking questions, but then they were slowly answered throughout the whole movie. Yeah, it is good.
Cool.
It is an A.
A? Give it also an A? Okay. I'm going to go A- on this.
Oh my God, A-.
Tyler, what the fuck? Why do you react to, if anybody gives a grade that's not the same, exactly the same as yours? It's a shocking thing.
I'm shocked. What can I say?
Love it. Thank you. Perfect answer. Yeah, I think the things that took me out of it a little bit was a little bit of just a little tiny little colorings, little dabbles of cringe through some of the performances, and it seemed, one of the things that gets under my skin, and everybody's got the little pet peeves with performances. Part of it for me is inaccurate car scenes.
Yes.
But the other thing that really gets under my skin, and it reared its ugly head in Us. I just recently rewatched Us with Brianna. When the little kid Tether is turning his head every time because he's like, oh, this character is creepy, so he has to like turn his head back and forth
sporadically.
Yeah, like
abnormally.
And it's almost like the director needs to reel that shit in. Calm that down. There's too much of it. You're leaning on that one bit too much.
All right.
It's like
someone's already made this joke.
Somebody already made that joke. You can't use that.
You can't do it too much. That's from the Burkhart brothers. You can't do too much, and it wasn't nearly as much with this one. But there was some of it where you're like, okay, you're leaning too. I get it. She's new, but so that was a little bit jarring for me.
Yeah, when Numi was running around, I was like, okay,
yeah, all right, that's enough of that. But not too much, didn't take me out of it too much. And then also, I think that the burn makeup was it wasn't terrible, but I think that was probably the most distracting part of it. Was like you could tell it was like a suit.
Yeah,
there is some part.
So
I think the scratch and
that
then,
was great,
and then like the hole
that was great
that they make, and then the entrails and stuff.
Yeah,
the cat carcass that they're drinking the blood from.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
Yeah. So, anyways, as far as the movie as a whole, severely underseen, severely underappreciated. I'm going to keep my ears open for Goran Stolevski. In the same year, he also came out with Of an Age, and then the next year, this year, Housekeeping for Beginners. So I never even heard of either one of those, so looking forward to it. And he's working on more stuff, too. He's a prolific writer, but I hope that he becomes a prolific director because this was really exciting stuff. And now I know about North Macedonian witch lore. So we could put that feather in my cap.
You've never would ever thought of before.
Yeah, can't wait. We're going to collect all these worldly lores like, Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
We got trolls, we got lore, witches, and who knows what the next one's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay, that was You Won't Be Alone. And now let's get to the Wheel of Destiny.
1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny.
All right. You Won't Be Alone off the wheel. Let's see what we got here.
What will you replace, and also what will we not be watching next week?
Yes, I'm 2 in a row. I cannot have
2-turn limit.
2-turn limit. I cannot have the next week, but I will replace my movie on the wheel. And we're gonna do a fun movie.
A fun movie.
A fun movie, yeah. What was my last pick right before this? What was it? Last week.
Tell you what, it was Paprika.
Oh yeah, Paprika. And Paprika is fun enough, but not fun. This is fun. This is
fun.
This is sleazy fun. This is called Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's a movie we have to commentate on.
Yeah.
Hard
Ticket to Hawaii.
Ticket.
It's the Andy Sedaris movie.
It's oh my god, I can't. That's so fun. That is a fun movie.
We'll see how fun it is. I mean, I've seen the clips. I think we've all have.
I've seen the movie before.
Oh, you have?
I've seen it like twice.
Oh, cool.
It's great.
Okay, so Hard Ticket Hawaii is on the board. Let us recap the wheel for new listeners. We have the wheel right here. It is a physical wheel of destiny. We have 8 slots, 2 for me, 2 for Joseph, 2 for Tyler, and we're going to spin this to watch what we watch next week. We have Hard Ticket to Hawaii and Rocket Man from me, which will not be watched. The Hurt Locker and American History X from Tyler. The Pianist from Joseph, also Stalker from Joseph. And Unfinished Life from Patreon Mitch, and Deep Murder from Patreon Stu.
Oh my gosh. Only Rocket Man and both your movies are like the unserious movies of
Oh yeah, I got
the wheel.
I got 2 yuckle fucks on the wheel.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we're gonna give us a spin. Let's see what we watch next week.
What's it gonna be?
Come on.
It's the Pianist.
Pianist.
The Penis.
Okay.
The Pianist.
That's like a 3-hour movie.
I don't think it is.
Who knows? It might be.
Let's see.
Let's look it up right now. The Pianist, 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Okay.
A Polanski movie. We're not watching it.
Wait, what?
It's out.
It's a Polanski movie.
You didn't know it was a Polanski movie when you put it on the wheel?
No. Did you?
Yes.
Oh.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie.
That's a fucking lie.
That is not a lie because I'm very familiar with this film.
All right. Have you seen it?
I've seen half of it.
Very
familiar.
Yeah. Streaming on Amazon Prime and Pluto.
Yes. Polish Jewish musician struggles to survive the destruction of the Warsaw Ghetto of World War II. So this is a fun romp. And starring Adrian Brody, Thomas Kretschmann. Hey, both these guys are in King Kong.
Yeah.
And Frank Finlay, Emilia Fox, Michael Wazowski. No, Michael Zabrowski. Ed Stoppard, Julia Rayner, and other people. But Adrian Brody is the main star of this movie.
I like Thomas Kretschmann.
Which I believe has won 3 Oscars. I believe Adrian Brody went home with the Oscar winner.
I'm sorry if you didn't say the year. Was this 03?
2003. 2.
02, I think.
Oh, 02. Okay.
2002, yes. It won. Oh, no. It won, Adrian Brody, won actor. Polanski won director. Won adapted screenplay. Yeah.
Nominated for cinematography, but did not win.
Yeah.
Powell Edelman. That name sounds familiar.
But yeah, so that's, you say it's streaming on what? Prime?
Prime and Pluto.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you said Tubi.
I started to. I corrected myself.
But it's got 8.5 out of 10, so it's got to be decent.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Time for a good sad.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. So we will watch The Pianist, and we'll get to the bottom of how it's pronounced next
I know. We
week.
should take a survey for all the classmates out there. How do you pronounce this film?
How
the
do you
pianist or the
how
pianist?
do you pronounce this?
The Pianist or
This
the
word.
Pianist?
Is it pianist or pianist?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Anything else, fellas?
I think that's it.
That is it.
Okay. Where are we here? All right. Thank you to the classmates and new students in the chat and the YouTube that are still with us. Thank you to our cool-ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, listener Steven, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris, and to all of the Patreons who help make this show possible. Until next time. Thank you for following us as we review You Won't Be Alone. Follow us next week as we watch The Pianist, Joseph's pick from the wheel from Old Romy Polansko.
Yes.
Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and please follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010. Let us know how you say pianist or pianist.
And follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Middle Class Film Class.
All right. See you next time.
See you next time.
See you.